Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at the Gallo SA12 and just how utterly ridiculous this gun is. It is a secondary weapon, but boy is it definitely good enough to be a primary weapon. In fact, it's probably one of the best guns in the game. Today we're going to break this video down into two different sections. We're going to go into the attachments and the class setup, also general gameplay tips and tricks. Just before we get into this video though, if you can hit that like and subscribe button and turn the notifications on, be really appreciated, and you'll see more content just like this very regularly. Now let's get into the class / attachments. For the main weapon, I just take something with a bit of range on it. For argument's sake, the AK is what I'm currently running, but to be honest, I rarely if ever use it. For the secondary, obviously the Gallo SA12. For the tactical, I take the stim shot, then lethal, Semtex, and then the field mic. Perks, you want to be taking perkery just to make sure you get as many as possible. So you want to be taking flak jacket, tactical mask, quartermaster, scavenger, cold-blooded, and ghost. Now let's move on to the attachments. For the muzzle, we're going to be taking the duck-bill choke, and that's throughout the entire leveling system. I find the wider pellet spread is just best for this weapon. For the barrel, we're going to be taking the 24.8 task force. Now I'm understanding that this is going to take a while to unlock, so there are a couple of things you're going to be wanting to take along the way. For example, the 21.4 reinforced heavy. Prior to that, the 22.7 extended. Moving on to the body, we're going to be taking the SWAT 5MW laser sight. Prior to that, we're going to be wanting to take the steady aim laser. Do you know, all the flashlights and things like that just aren't that useful because it's going to slow down a sort of few things, and you really want to assist with that hip fire accuracy, especially where we're going to take away from it a little bit later on in the build. For the magazine, we're going to be taking the Stanag 12 round tube. Prior to that, obviously take the 9 round tube. The additional ammo in chamber is just going to be really useful. For stock, we're going to be taking no stock. Again, prior to that, probably the wire stock's probably best. You just want that sprint to fire time, and again, look, we're taking away from the hip fire accuracy on the no stock, so that's why we're taking the laser. It's also worth noting we're using the exact same build in the zombies game mode, as this gun is just as ridiculously overpowered in that game mode as it is in multiplayer. It's worth noting as well, using this gun in zombies is a great way to get the initial few attachments on this gun, as most guns are pretty trash in the base version of the gun without any attachments. Now let's move on to some gameplay tips. In terms of this gun, you are going to want to stay quite close to your enemy. You don't want to be taking anyone on at range, obviously, because it's a shotgun. That being said, it does have some decent range on the gun. I've got some fairly decent shots off with it before, but ultimately get as close as you can. You're going to annihilate anyone you go up against. It was stronger than the MP5 pre the MP5's nerf as well. You're going to win that fight every time as long as you landed your hits. The game modes I find this best on is probably domination or hardpoint or maybe assault. This is because you're focused on a certain area. Those tend to not be quite wide open areas and enclosed if anything, so you can really get down to business with the shotgun here. You want to also be running and sliding into fights or jumping into fights. You just want to get as close as possible with this weapon whilst making your movement a little bit less predictable, so sliding into a fight, as previously mentioned, is a really good idea. On your larger maps, you really want to be using the vehicles to your advantage. You want to be getting into buildings, getting into areas like the domination points and things like that as quick as possible, not running across these wide open spaces where you're going to get sniped, you're going to get beamed by the M16, so you can get undercover, and then as soon as people try and take this position from you, i.e. sort of in assault, you can just absolutely laser beam them with your ridiculously overpowered shotgun. Well guys, thanks for watching this video. If you can hit that like and subscribe button, I produce plenty of this kind of content. If you head over to my channel now, you'll see plenty of similar sort of videos to this. I've covered off a few different overpowered guns. In fact, my last video was covering off which sniper is best, so it's really worthwhile checking that one out. Also doing a couple of YouTube shorts as well. I'll be transferring this onto a YouTube short, so you'll be able to see it in a sort of minute or less. Well, thanks for watching. See you next time.